So I just want to say welcome to everybody. I'm just so very, very happy that you're here today. And I know people will continue coming in for the next few minutes, but we'll just chat. And if you will go ahead and put yourself on, and I will check back in a minute and try to put everyone on mute as well. Yes, okay. I think I have muted everyone now. And I'm continuing to see folks posting in the chat with locations. Um, Someone asked me earlier where the furthest location is, and speakers are coming in. I don't know that we'll have anyone from Australia this morning on this call, because right now in Australia it's tomorrow at 1 in the morning. So they probably have not joined us, but later in the week, and as the recordings are posted, we'll have the folks from Australia and Egypt, and of course the UK, and other places, other countries in Europe. We have folks registered with us from Croatia and Slovenia. We have some folks from Brazil and Mexico, Russia, the Ukraine, France. So we have a pretty broad, and lots of folks, of course, from the United States and Canada. So we have a broad gathering of people. So welcome to everyone. If you haven't already, you may, there are a couple of choices on your screen. If you are familiar with Zoom, you already know this, but you can put your screen on speaker, or you can leave it on the grid. So I'm going now to speaker view for the recording that we're doing today. And I'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure we'll have some more people coming in. We have 80 people so far on the call, but we'll have more coming. But I just want to welcome you to Mother Earth's Sacred Sites, Portals for Spiritual Awakening and Finding Your Heart's Desire. I'm Peggy Moore, your host and producer for the summit. And again, just keep posting in the chat if you would like to put your name and where you're located in the world. That would be great. And we will include the chat in the recording when it's posted at 1 o'clock today. I'm so honored that you have come. And join us again, at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. You'll find the next 4 interviews for today released in the recording at 1 o'clock, 2 hours from now. And you can go to find the speakers, you can go to the event schedule to access all of the talks. Click on the speaker, it will take you to the speaker page, which will take you to their talk once it's opened. Or you can check your daily emails, and in those emails I will give you direct links to each one of the interviews. So feel free to join either way with that. And just every day, after today, the daily speakers will be released 5 per day at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. You can access those talks on all 5 days. And of course, you've seen the emails. If you want to keep the recordings for future for you, you can purchase that lifetime access. But all of the talks will be available for about 2.5 days. They'll open after today. They'll open at 11 o'clock. And today's talks will be open until June the 3rd at midnight. So you have about 2.5 days to watch the talks as they come up. So I am so grateful and honored to have so many beautiful, loving wisdom keepers who have joined to share their knowledge and wisdom in this summit. I thank every speaker and every participant who will join us. So just remember to check your daily emails, and let's see if I can post in the chat in case you don't already have it. There's the link for the schedules. And so you can get to that anytime that you want to. And it's in the emails that I send out. So I'm honored that you've come today, that you've chosen to be a part of the great awakening of our planet. And I hope that from the summit, you find some guidance for your awakening. My intention with the summit has been to send out into the world the vibration of awakening and to offer guidance or help to those who are on a spiritual path, to offer help in finding connections between the energy of the earth and the earth's elements and the sacred sites and the advancement of one's spiritual path. I called wisdom keepers and light workers and healers and teachers to join me as speakers for this summit, to share their vision of the sacred, to share how they awoke to their calling and their awakening, and to help us access the portals to the sacred. I have been immensely blessed through this process, meeting with each of these speakers, and it's just been a beautiful experience for me. And I hope that it will be an amazing experience for you. Through the summit, I want you to discover how ancient wisdom can guide you and assist you in remembering your heart's desire, your soul's mission. And then hopefully you allow that energetic connection to help you discern how to live to your highest potential. So I want to share with you a little about who I am and why I created this summit. But first, I want to honor the sacred, to call the ancestors, the directions. And we're not able to sit outside, and if you're in a place where you can turn toward the directions, by all means, do that. But if you're not, that's perfectly fine. I have, if I can bring it up here, I want to share with you a slideshow. Oops, there we go. So you can, as I call the directions, you can turn toward each of the directions. You can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open. And what I'll have on the screen will be the pictures to help move us through calling the ancestors. This is the approach to my ceremony field. And in the field, I have guardian stones for each of the directions. And so I'll include a picture of that and talk about some of the ancestors that I call on as I call the directions. So just bring yourself to that sacred place and open your heart as we call the directions. We start with calling the divine, calling the oneness, known by many names. Some call the divine God, Goddess, Allah, Yahweh, Wonkin Tonkin. The names go on and on, but the essence is the divine love, the creator of us all. So we call and ask you to be with us in this summit, guiding us, leading us, teaching us, showing us. We thank you for coming. And we move to the east, to the guardian stone of the east. In the east, we call the ancestors, the sun goddesses, the sun gods, the Egyptian god Ra and Sekhmet, the Irish Lu and Anu. We call you to guide us, to lead us, to help us. The east is the direction of illumination. the direction of light, the direction of opening to the light. It is the element of air, and we ask the element of air to blow through us, to blow away those things we need to release, and to blow to us the energies that we need to embrace to help us move to our highest potential. And the guardian of the South, the beautiful South. The South, the direction of joy and laughter and creativity and rhythm and dance. Let me move the screen just a little. I'm not sure if you can see the words on that. And those gods and goddesses that come to us from the South, we call to Hathor and Bastet from the Egyptian, and to Bridget. Hathor and Bastet are the goddesses of love and of dance and music and laughter. And the Irish goddess Bridget, again, the goddess of love, the goddess of creativity, the goddess bringing us so much from so many ancient times. And the Ordern Mor. The Ordern Mor is said to have created the earth from the very sound of creation, the sound of music, the sound of harmony. So we step into the South, stepping into the rhythm of life, opening up to the rhythm, opening up to allow ourselves to become one with the rhythm of life, listening to the divine. And in the South, in the Celtic spirit wheel, the element is fire. So in the South, we step into the fire, asking the fire to burn away all of the things that we need to let go, to burn away what we need to release, to burn away what we have trouble letting go, but to burn away what we no longer need that's blocking us from our highest potential. So thank you, South Winds. Bring the fire and lift us. And we take a breath and turn toward the guardian of the West. And in the West, the black bear calls us. She takes us into her cave, where we sit in introspection, where we sit in the darkness. We sit in the darkness, listening to the heart, listening to messages from the heart. And the goddesses, the Morrigan from Ireland and Sekhmet from Egypt, stand with us in the West, stand with us to help us as we go through this darkness of introspection. And the goddesses are there to carry us when we cannot carry ourselves, and to walk with us when we can stand and walk alone. And in the West are the waters. The water washing over us, the water washing away the ashes from the fires of the South, the water refreshing us and lifting us, helping us take one more step as we move through the medicine wheel, through the spirit wheel, to the direction of the North. The North, the direction of challenges. So again, take a deep breath into the North, because she challenges us deeply to remember who we are, to remember why we're here, to access that sacred knowledge from the north, from those challenges. And in the north, we're asked to stand up as a warrior of the heart. Isis comes to us to help us stand, to teach us how to be the warrior. And the white buffalo, the white buffalo surrounds the medicine wheel and digs her path deeper and deeper as she circles around us, helping us access and remember who we are. The element of the north is the earth. And we thank you. We thank the earth, and we thank and bless all of the beings, those who creep and crawl upon the earth. The rock people, the rocks and minerals, the rooted beings, the plants and the trees, the flying beings, even those pesky little mosquitoes, all of the flying beings, because it includes those bees that nourish our food. And we thank and bless the four-leggeds and the two-leggeds, all of the two-leggeds, those that we find hard to send blessings to. We ask the divine to bless them too, to help them remember, help us all remember who we are. And we thank the elementals, seen and the unseen beings who guide us. And we turn finally to the center once again. The heavens above, the Mother Earth below, the divine center, the center of love, holding us, holding our hearts. And we say thank you. We say thank you. Aho, Ashi, Amen, blessed be, Hamdulillah. All of the words from all of the traditions who say thank you to the divine. So thank you in joining me. Oh. So if you have not already muted yourself, I've just attempted to to mute everyone again. So please leave your mics on mute. It's in the lower left-hand corner of your screen to mute that. And let me get rid of the PowerPoint slide that I had up, and it's in front of my face, and so I need to move that around. Oh, so with that, thank you to the earth. I want to tell you that the reason the summit was created was that I listened to the ancestors. I heard the illumination, the call from the east. I stepped into the rhythm of life from the south, and I sat in the Black Bear's cave listening to the messages from the heart. And when I stepped into the north, I was asked to stand up as a warrior of the heart. And I understood that that meant that it was time for me to share messages from Mother Waters and Mother Earth to a larger audience. And of course, so very easily, I ran into the, let's see, someone's mic is on. If you would turn that mic off, because we're getting interference coming in from that. Yeah. So as I came to realize that it was time for me to create this summit, I tripped across a summit and a person who could help me do this. I mean, the directions came so quickly and so easily that it was just astounding astounding to see the speed at which this came. We started planning this summit last November, and in the process looked at the astrological predictions and a number of other things, the timing of the moon, and chose the week of June 1st. We had no idea that there would be a world pandemic. We had no idea that more people would be watching summits on the internet than perhaps ever before. Maybe people who've never watched summits on the internet, conferences by the internet. But here we are in the perfect timing. But in my journeys, the answering the call did not always come so fast and easy. I heard the call, that still small voice, as a child, but I heard it in an environment and with a family who acknowledged only the solid physical world. They believed in God, they had a religious practice, but the God they knew didn't speak through the trees and the earth and the water and the plants. But always I was drawn to the mystical. And even as a child, I yearned to go to places that I had never been. I yearned for knowledge that the academic world couldn't offer. And as a young teenager, I believed in past lives, but no one around me would even allow those words spoken, let alone answer my questions about them. But yet I continued to believe in past lives. And then when I was 18 or 19, I walked into my first past life experience and no longer believed, but knew deep within my heart that I had lived before. And from there, I sought spiritual teachers. I searched for the truth in their words and began studying metaphysics and world religions and astrology and meditation. During this process, I was pulled to the energy of various places. Though I had little money for international travel, I looked for the sacred around me. I followed the energy pull to places that I could get to in the eastern United States. And by the time I had an income that could support travel, well, I had children to raise. And so that deep longing for other places, especially places in the Celtic world and in Egypt, were always in the background calling to me, but not places that I could get to at that point in my life. Eventually, after launching my children and completing an amazing journey through an academic and mental health career, I began to go deeper into my spiritual path. Through the years, throughout my career even, I always taught meditation and spiritual classes. But after my so-called retirement, I increased my spiritual focus and I began leading Celtic ceremony, teaching more spiritual classes. And finally, I was able to not only listen to the voices pulling me to the sacred, but to act on those voices and go to those sacred sites that I had been called to. Several of my speakers through the week talk about hearing the call and knowing when you are pulled to a particular site. You may need to go there. There may be something there in that energy for you to learn. Or you may need to just find out all you can about that particular place. But recognize that it's a calling. Recognize there's something there for you to learn from that. And as you listen to these speakers, I hope that they'll give you some techniques and some ideas on how to reach out to those callings. Though I have connections and past lives in many places around the world, I found my soul merged with the very land of Ireland, and that my heart beats with the rhythm of Egypt. You can hear a little more of that story about Egypt on Wednesday when I interview one of my Egyptian guides, Majid Nasser. But one note I want to tell you about in regard to my connection to Ireland and Egypt. In my research for the classes that I teach and for the tours that I lead, as well as that inner knowing, I discovered that there is an ancient link between Ireland and Egypt. The link is primarily through legend, but several sources give archaeological evidence. For instance, the gods and the goddesses of ancient Ireland, called the Tooth of Dodona, appear to have been trained in Egypt and sent to Ireland. There, at one time, there actually was a hieroglyphics on a temple that told this story, called Thoth's Crossing, where Thoth was the person who was to have taught these people, these semi-gods who were sent to Ireland. Another story tells that about 3,000 years ago, one of the Egyptian princesses traveled and lived in Ireland. In more modern times, somewhere around 600 CE, current era, a monastery on Skellig Michael, which is an island off the coast of Ireland, had both Celtic monks and Coptic monks in residence. The Celtic monks, obviously, are from Ireland, England, Wales, Scotland. The Coptic Christians are the Egyptian Christians. It's a sect somewhat similar to the Greek Orthodox Christian Church, separate from the Roman Catholic division of Christianity. So the Coptics and the Celtic monks worked there together for many years. So yes, I'm inexplicably drawn to both countries. Did I travel with Scotia when she left Egypt? Maybe? I don't know. For years, I've been wandering to sacred places, and I've taken small groups with me. In my life today, in supposed retirement, I decided to formalize the tours, create a business, a website. In January, I led a tour to Egypt, a tour called A Spiritual Journey to Egypt, blending the Celtic and the Egyptian heart. And of course, on that tour, I talked about the crossover between the Celtic and the Egyptian gods and goddesses. In 2020, I'll be leading a 3-day workshop on Egyptian goddesses with an organization called UU Women's Spirit. And if that calls to you, I'll try to send out a link for that, and you can look at that particular, it's a week-long conference. Continuing in where I am today at Osher Lifelong Learning on the campus of the University of North Carolina in Asheville, I teach courses in Ireland's sacred sites and Celtic spirituality and meditation. Later in June, I will offer a webinar on Celtic spirituality. That's one of my free gifts to you. So let's see, someone, please, if you haven't already, put yourself on mute. We've got a couple of, the system is supposed to be muting as you come in, but apparently it's not catching everyone as we come in. So if you will mute yourself, just make sure you're muted so that the background are not coming through. So one of my free gifts is that webinar on Celtic spirituality that you can join me. I think the date is June the 17th for that webinar. So today I want to talk with you more about my journey with Mother Earth and Mother Water. I have a fondness, a calling, a connection for all the elements, the fire, earth, air, and water. I feel them strongly, perhaps because of calling the directions, but the elements call to me with the strongest pull from the earth and the water. I feel it in the richness of the soil when I put my hands into the earth to dig and plant and harvest. I feel the pull when I create the recipes for the herbal teas and tinctures that I make. And I have a very strong pull from the earth elementals, from the fairies and the gnomes. I have a few fairy glens on my property. And the land itself seems to speak to me. The land has drawn me to many sacred places, some with ancient histories and others with memories from past lives. The land where I live now called me. 17 years ago, my late husband and I were looking for a place in the North Carolina mountains. We were drawn here. This beautiful land is so much like Scotland and Ireland. And there was a definite pull to us to come to this particular area. So as we were looking for a new home, we had a certain set of requirements for the house, that we wanted this and that. And we were looking for our future retirement home. So we wanted a small house with a small piece of land. We drove to this place, this land where I live now, and without question, knew this was the place. Regardless of what the house looked like, regardless of the size of any of it, it didn't matter. A soul memory called to me, called us to this land. And we came to realize that we have been called as the caretakers or the guardians of this land. One of my guests later today, Eileen Newman, speaks and writes about Mother Earth, about the energy around us, and that the earth, if we will allow it, the energy can draw us into the earth. She talks about when we are open to it, that we allow the earth to reach up and wrap around our feet. And if we are willing, the mother can draw us into the earth and hold you and comfort you and nourish you. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience when you can do that. In another calling from Mother Earth, I was drawn to build a labyrinth in the yard. And on Tuesday, Johanna Manassi talks about labyrinths as one of the speakers. So when I was called to build the labyrinth, I wanted it to be in one particular spot in a particular pattern. But the earth spoke to me and guided me to a different location, a different design from what I had hoped for. And I listened to that earth's guidance. And later, what I discovered is that original spot actually came to be the medicine wheel, a spirit wheel. It's called medicine wheel in the Native American tradition and spirit wheel in the Irish tradition. So, and later I came to understand that here on the land that there are energy lines and water lines running through the properties. I have 3 creeks here on this property, one of them originating from a spring here. And our physical bodies are made up of the elements of the earth and the water. You know, our bodies are about 60% water, and the vast majority of the earth's surface is covered in water. So we have a very strong pull to the water. And as I sit in my office here today, in front of me that you can't see are the photographs of some of my travels. Excuse me, someone, and I can't tell who, but let me mute all again. Okay, hopefully, hopefully that will catch everyone as we come in, so that we don't have the background noise. But as I sit here with the photos of my travels, and I sit in the shadow behind me of my artwork, reflecting the spiritual journeys and spiritual experiences, I look at these photographs, but they're not pictures of buildings and people as much as pictures of the land and the water. And so many of my photos include the mother water. Here on the wall in front of me are pictures of Niagara Falls, of the North Sea, of the Atlantic Ocean, some pictures from the United States and Canadian side, other pictures from the European view of the Atlantic, and many, many pictures of lakes and rivers of Ireland and Scotland and the Netherlands and other places, and of course, pictures of the River Nile. On the mountainside where I live, at least 3 creeks merge from the mountain as they flow into the local river called the Swannanoa River here in this area. And 3 of those creeks run through my property. There's a very large energetic water line on this mountainside. That water line is somewhere between 6 and 10 feet wide, running from the top of the mountain and down to the base of the mountain. It runs through a portion of this house to the side of the house and eventually runs next to one of the creeks on the property. So what we know today is that water holds energy and vibration. Water holds consciousness and memory. Dr. Emoto did water experiments and validated that. IONS, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, and quantum physics experiments tell us that water holds the vibration, and they tell us that we are all connected. So my experiences with the water go in many different directions. One of those, I'm a member of a council of energy essences, and we created, I think you can probably see this, though you may not be able to actually read what's on it. This is called Love Your Mother. This is a water essence that was created to increase the vibration of the waters on Earth so that we can raise the vibration above the vibration of the COVID-19 virus. One of my speakers, Brian Chrissy, I believe speaks on Thursday, and he will talk more about the creation of those essences and specifically about creating Love Your Mother. Another thing in regard to the essences and the water, in the process of preparing for the summit, we created an essence called Universal Life Expansion. And I have internally taken this water like this from the dropper into my mouth, receiving the universal life expansion to flow from me through the summit and out to each of you. So if you open yourself to receiving that energy is there. The water in your body is there, ready to harmonize with the higher vibrations that can be available for you. So listen to the Mother Water. She has stories to tell you. I have a couple of water stories, and I hope they help you see your own guidance that the water and the earth sends to you. The first one is about a Vesica Pisces that my dear friend Kathy McCullough and I built for a Beltane ceremony several years ago. The Vesica Pisces is it's a set of 2 overlapped circles. Eileen Noman talks about the Vesica Pisces and the other ancient sacred symbols. When Kathy and I chose to build this for the Beltane ceremony, prior to the ceremony, we had this plan. It reminds me of my labyrinth story. We had a plan on how we were going to do this and the materials that we were going to use. And I had this plastic that should have been very easy to put into the earth and to lay out the two overlapping circles. Well, it didn't work. We had already talked about the rocks, that we could get rocks. However, the creek bed is about 10 feet below the area of the ceremony where we were building this. And we did not want to go down this rather steep incline to bring rocks back up, as many as we would need. This structure is about 17 feet by 10 feet, which is 5 meters by 3 meters. It's a pretty large structure requiring a large number of rocks. So we couldn't get the plastic to work, and without even talking about it, we just gradually began to go down into the crevice where the creek runs, bringing those rocks up, many trips down and up, placing the creeks around. And when we were near the completion of the structure, there's a section to the south where water began to bubble up. Now, we're at least 10 feet above the level of the creek. There's never been water before or since building this Vesica Pisces with water. But when we built the Vesica Pisces and put the rocks around it, the water bubbled in this particular area. In about 3 days, the water was gone and has never returned again. But we both knew that water was speaking to us, was saying, thank you for this sacred symbol being laid upon the earth to put energy out into the atmosphere, not just there for us to use at our Beltane ceremony, but there to send that energy out from this point forward. So listen to Eileen when she tells you about building the Vesica Pisces and what that's about. Another water story that we have, I'll try to be short on this one because we're running out of time here, but in preparation for the summit, during the preparation, we've had very heavy rainfall this spring, and one of the creeks on my property originates from a spring across the road from me and travels through a pipe under the road, under my driveway. And as you can imagine, my driveway is, I don't know, 10 or 12 feet below the level of the road. So this was not just a straight pipe. This is a pipe that had to go at some angles and things. And so as you can imagine, it's that waterway could possibly get blocked. And this neighborhood was built in the 50s. This had not previously happened, but this spring, the water apparently somewhere up inside the pipe became blocked and caused water to flow up in my driveway. And so I had 3 lessons from that water coming up in the driveway. Now, I could have gotten upset that the water's coming up and I don't know what's happening and maybe it's going to wash out my driveway, but that wasn't what came to me. What came to me were the bubbles of water, this water flowing up, and I began to see the bubbles as symbols for the speakers of the summit. And as this water began to flow across the driveway, I expected it to go straight across and drop off into the creek below. But it didn't. Okay, out here in this world, gravity pulled it because the driveway's on a very slight angle and pulled it in different directions. But it was more than the gravity. The lesson was not connected to the scientific principles of gravity. The lesson was there to tell me that the bubbling water represented the speakers, and the energy and the knowledge from the speakers were going to flow out into places I didn't even imagine that energy would go. So I hope that you're able to find that wisdom from the speakers, and that the energy goes far beyond where I could imagine it to go. So another lesson from that was the creation of the essence that I talked about, the universal life expansion. And I think that has come to help expand all of our consciousness. The other lesson that came is looking at that section in my driveway, which has now been repaired and it's fine. But at the time, my driveway was blocked, blocking the exit and the entrance to my home through the driveway. Now, if I take that symbology to be that my home represents myself, I was needing to find alternative ways to access myself and to access the divine. So I had to get out of the known paths and find new directions. So those were my 3 lessons from that water flowing across freely across the driveway. Eventually there was a crevice in the drive that was about 8 inches deep with water 4 inches deep just flowing across. And it was quite an experience. So I ask you to listen to the water and listen to the earth and let that water and earth guide you through the processes of looking for your own spiritual awakening, guide you through the processes of finding your heart's desire, your soul's mission. So I would like to lead you in a short guided meditation in just a minute. But let me remind you that at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, you will find all of the interviews for today opened, including the recording from today's interview, this talk. They'll be available till June the 3rd. Each day, the talks will be available for 2.5 days. You can go to the event schedule to access the talks or check your emails, because every day you'll get an email with a direct link for each one of those speakers. So watch for that. And I'd like to lead you in this guided meditation. I use universal life energy techniques in my meditation, and one of my gifts that you'll find there on my speaker page is a PDF showing you how to use the techniques. It's a PDF called How to Meditate with Universal Life Energy Techniques. So I would like to take you through this meditation, and then we'll close with closing the circle where we've called in the ancestors. So if you'll join me in this meditation and just sit quietly. You can close your eyes if you would like to do that, or you can leave your eyes open. You can also just partially close your eyes so that you see light coming in. The reason for closing your eyes during meditation is that if you close your eyes, you have blocked out the stimulation from the outer world, so you're able to access the inner world a little more. So I will lead you through these universal life techniques, and as I said, you can find them written on the PDF if you'd like to know more about it. But I start the meditation just becoming aware of the air around you, breathing in, breathing out normally, but paying attention to the breath, and opening your hands. The universal life energy techniques are connected to the chakras in your system, the chakras that are on the spine area. But they're much more than just a spot on the spine. They are around you. They are much larger than just a particular location. And there are chakras throughout your body. The ones that are in your hands and in your feet are directly connected to that. So we start by opening our hands, bringing your hands together at your heart, and focusing on the tips of your little fingers. drawing that energy from the tips of your fingers down your hands, across the base of your hand and up to the tips of your thumbs. And then reversing that energy from the thumbs down across the base back to your little fingers. Focusing on the tips of your ring fingers, the tips of your middle fingers, the tips of your forefingers. And then letting your attention drop from the tips of your fingers into the palms of your hands. And then draw your hands apart, just a few inches apart. And focus on that energy between your hands, holding it there at your heart area and drawing that energy from in front of you, toward your body, through your body, and out the back. And then bring your attention above the top of your head, dropping to your brow, and dropping back into your hands. And just let your hands rest there in your lap. Taking a slow, easy breath in. Breathing gently. And in this quiet space, listening to your heart, listening to the Mother Earth, letting her come to you. And if you're comfortable, letting her bring you into the earth, letting her be there with you and around you, letting the warm earth warm your body, letting yourself become one with all that is. Letting yourself merge from this physical body into that place where all things are connected to the divine. Breathing in and breathing out. And listening within your heart to the breath that's coming through you. Listening to the messages on the wind. And breathing in the warmth coming into your body. Is the fire in your body. Your body temperature is the awareness that you are a part of the fire element. And finally, listen to the water, to the blood flowing through your veins in your physical body. But listen to the waters flowing in your heart. Listen to the messages. Listen to the guidance. And know that you are one with the divine, that you are surrounded and enfolded in love, in peace, in harmony, in blessings. And bring your hands to your heart, palms together, raising your hands above your head, rolling those hands back to back and pulling those hands apart with the palms dropping toward Mother Earth, rolling up with the energy flowing upward. And bringing your hands together above your head, dropping from the crown, past the brow, past the throat, back to your heart. And then dragging your hands down the front of your body, tossing that energy off beyond your knees, letting Mother Earth receive that energy as she turns that energy around from the earth, sending it back up through your body, enfolding and holding you. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for joining this summit. Thank you for being. And we thank the ancestors who come today, who've come to be with us. We ask that those who can stay with us, stay. Those who need to leave, be on your way. And thank you for your guidance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm so happy that you came today. See you at 1 o'clock, I hope. Bye.